Let's return to Hearthside Lanes in Greenville, Rhode Island for our opening highlights of the final frames of this week's quarterfinal qualifying matches in the men's division. First off, Smith Greene from Rhode Island, Wyoming meets Smithfield's Jack Connell. And then Mike Calise of Warwick challenges Johnston pro Frank Ferri. The two qualifiers will return later in the program for the semifinal to earn the right to challenge this week's top seed, six-time Pro Tour winner Attleboro's Peter Pierce. In the second week of our women's tournament, the distaff side of the bowling Greene family, Wyoming, Rhode Island's Grace Greene meets Helen Johnson of Providence. Now, let's join Alan Lee with the first round in progress.
Hello, bowling fans. Welcome to Hearthside Lanes here in Greenville, Rhode Island. We're joining our quarterfinal match in progress between Smith Greene and Jack Connell. Both of these gentlemen today vying for the right to meet Peter Pierce in our semifinal match. Through the first 6 frames, it's been a real close match. Neither bowler taking advantage of the other bowler's, well, inability here to break open. And right now, Smith Greene with a 1-pin lead. I'm Lee Russo, and this is Al Zoraian sitting with me today. And Al, it's not been, either bowlers have been unable to take advantage of the other bowler's lack of spares and strikes here.
Yeah, it's been a real close defensive battle, I guess you can call it.
How do you play defense in bowling?
I don't know, other than trip the other bowler, I don't know. Ooh, nice try, Smitty.
Smitty was shooting at the 3-9-10. Filled his spare with 7. Took an 8-pin lead now. But he's going to be looking at the spare, the strike of Jack Connell in the 8th frame. So Smitty going into the 9th frame now with an 8-pin lead. He's going to have to mock here, Al, to hold that lead. Oh, very tough lead. 5-7. I've seen Smitty make this one a number of times before, so let's see what he can do with it.
His ball's coming right at the right angle for it. Overshot it a little.
All right, pulls out the 5-pin, so he's going to be shooting at the 10 here for his 7 for his 10 box. Gets that. Leaves the door open, though, for Jack Connell to gain some ground on that 8-pin lead.
Jack's throwing on a strike now. Mock here would really put Smitty in trouble.
Al, you were on our show a couple of weeks ago. How does it feel when you're up there first time on television and being top seed?
It was a tough experience. It was really tough. I was glad it was over when it was over.
Yeah. All right, Jack Connell comes back with a strike.
Something like that takes the jitters right out of you, though.
Boy, it sure does. He's got the double now working in the 8th and the 9th frames. And Jack bowls here out of Hearthside Lanes in Greenville. And he bowls for Ken's Carpet Man.
One of our sponsors.
One of our sponsors, that's right. Has a high game of 212, and he qualified with 722. Good fill on that double with a 9. So he's going to have a sizable lead now going into the 10th frame, the finish-up frame here against Smith Greene. Picks the spare, and Jack Connell finishes strong with a double and a spare in the 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th frames.
He's closed the door on Smitty.
He's closed the doors, right, and that's it for Smitty. So Smitty's going to be eliminated, and Jack Connell will advance to our semifinal round, working to meet Peter Pierce, the Attleboro Cannon. Finishes with an 8 and a very respectable 136 game for Jack Connell. After that slow start, it was a heck of a finish, Al.
That's right. That's right. Big finish.
So Smith Greene's been eliminated. Smitty bowls out of Town Hall Lanes in Johnston, Rhode Island. Was a national singles champ. Has a 3-game high set of 585. High lifetime game of 229. And Smitty was hoping to throw and beat that high game today, but just not his day. Nope. So Smith Greene defeated by Jack Connell. And Jack Connell move on to meet the winner of our next match, Mike Calise and Frank Ferri. We'll be right back to show you the highlights of the next quarterfinal match. We're going to be joining our quarterfinal match here in progress between Mike Calise and Frank Ferri. Mike Calise got off to a great start, opened up with 2 spares in the first 2 boxes, opened in the 3rd, followed in the 4th, and had a 12-pin lead over Frank Ferri. Opened that to 24 pins through the first 4 frames, but then Frank Ferri came storming back with a double in the 5th, the 6th, and 2 spares in the 7th and 8th. And Frank Ferri now has taken a 2-pin lead over Mike Calise through 7 frames.
Oh, he's really got it rolling.
Yeah,
now.
he's really loosened up now. That classic Frank Ferri, throw it out, and just drive him through. You can't put Frank Ferri ahead.
Oh, he's tough.
The 5-pin, as they say, in the face.
In the face.
And Frank Ferri looks like he's going to have an insurmountable lead going into that 10th frame. With a decent fill here, he can close the door on Mike Calise.
Anything with bigger than a 5 fill or better, and a 10 box, and he's closed out Mike.
By the way, Mike Calise had a 522 high game set. Highest game career is 225. A 5-game qualifier of 711.
Well, Mike still has a chance. Frank can't close him out.
Frank Ferri right now with a 20-pin lead in the 9th frame. Frank's going to make sure the 3 on the right-hand side, so... And he does, and Frank's going to finish with a 150 game in our quarterfinal match here against Mike Calise. So Mike's got to throw. Double strike, Al.
Double strike at 9.
Not quite. He leaves the 6-10. So Frank Ferri will advance to our semifinal round, where he'll be meeting Jack Connell. And he and Jack will be bowling for the right to meet Peter Pierce, our top qualifier this week in a 1985 Cablevision Open.
Mike had trouble with the 2-pinners. That's 3
He
of
sure
them.
did. Mike Calise finishes with a 131. Frank Ferri moves on to our quarterfinal match, or our semifinal match, and we'll be back in just a minute with more Duckpin action from Hearthside Lanes here in Greenville, Rhode Island. Well, welcome back, Duckpin bowling fans, here at the Hearthside Lanes in Greenville, Rhode Island. Second week on our second stop. And our ladies match today is going to feature Helen Johnson against Greene. Helen Johnston from Providence, Rhode Island. And her home lanes are Town Hall Lanes in Johnston. Bowls in a couple of leagues also at Garden City. And we're going to be seeing Helen Johnson against Grace Greene. And earlier in the day, Al, we saw Gracie's husband, Smitty Greene.
That's right.
Unfortunately, he was eliminated.
Grace is going to have to carry the torch now.
Helen Johnson starting off on lane 21.
Nice 10.
2 pins. So Grace Greene now.
All right, Gracie.
Home lanes out of Town Hall Lanes in Johnston, Rhode Island. Bowls in the ladies Sunday Night Triples League, and I know Gracie's quite a golfer also. And Gracie right on the head pin, cutting through the middle, just a little too heavy on the head pin side. Grace now working on their spare break here in her first box. Brings the ball in to the 3-6 side, catches the 3-6 and leaves the 4-pin now for her 10. And Gracie's going to start off with a 10. And I'm sure Grace would like to try and match her lifetime high game of a 175. And she's also had a 444 3-game set. So Grace is certainly not going to be any easy competition.
Ball's coming in. No luck.
2 nice hits, Al, and just no luck with the spare break. But if she keeps throwing that, it'll happen.
Yeah, it's going to happen.
Gracie's looking at the 5, 7, 9. Pushes the 5 around the 9 pin, so she'll be working for 1 pin here. Trying to get as much wood as they can. And she'll finish with an 8 box. Grace Greene. It's Helen Johnson. Helen up for her second frame now. Lane 22. Helen off the 2-pin side of the head pin. Pulls out the 2, 4, and the 8. That's a very difficult spare to shoot for, Al. That 7 pins got to be pretty tough to kick out of there.
Yep.
Good try, and she makes it.
Got it.
Goes to the 1, 3 side. The head pin moving over, kicking out the 7, and the 9 pin, the last one to go down. So Helen Johnson now with the first mark here in this match. And we'll be back in just a moment with more duckpin action. Both bowlers now working on a mark in the 6th frame. Helen Johnson.
That's a good ball.
Very nice,
great ball.
Nice ball. Very nice ball. Got the ball across the alley into the 1, 3 side.
And that opens it up to 18 pins now.
So Grace Greene now under pressure to match the strike on the back-to-backs marks of Helen Johnson. And Grace finally got some action with that ball on the head pin. Even though it was a little light, got some good side action. Now looking at the 3, 6 for a spare break. Trailing Helen by 10 pins. Must pick this spare, though, to stay within that range.
Didn't give it enough room.
A little off to the right. So Grace now must pick these 2.
To stay 10 pins down.
When that wood becomes very important, especially when you're facing that mark. You want to cut down as much of that possible gain as you can. And she does. So she gets her 10. In the 7th frame. But Helen Johnson already with her strike in the 7th, so Grace must put something on the board to give Helen a shoot at. And Gracie just can't get anything to work for her properly today. The women are shooting all this month for their share of a prize jackpot of more than $2,200, and so could you. All you have to do is stop in at any participating duckpin house and reserve your spot in our next TV qualifying weekend. Just stop in at Bowling Academy in East Providence, Dudek Lanes in Warren, Hearthside Lanes in Greenville, where we're broadcasting from all of this week, Max Bowlaway in West Warwick, Town Hall Lanes in Johnston, and Wickford Lanes in North Kingstown. So Grace finishes with an 8.
Helen's got a 12-pin lead right now. She's working on a strike. And she can really put the pressure on with a good fill here.
And by error last month, we had moved Mike Lischio to Narragansett, so we're going to move him right back to North Kingston, where he's been there for 25 years. And Helen Johnson, now with 3 mocks in a row.
Now the lead's up to 22.
Both bowlers, Al, seem that once they get it going, they get over on this left side on 21. They both had trouble on lane 21. Helen just pulling out the 2-8.
Oh, she almost made a great shot.
Leaves the solid 9 on the 8-pin spare attempt. Plus, when you're ahead by 20 pins or so, you have the opportunity to try for those.
That's right.
You don't have to play it safe. You have that 3rd ball. You can go for it. And she finishes with a 9 box. So Helen Johnson will be 115 through 9 frames. And Grace Greene 82 through 8.
Grace has got to throw a strike here. 23 pins down with 2 boxes to go. Oh.
Well, Al, she needs the spare. This is almost an absolute must, and then she's got to fill it with a strike.
She's got it.
Picks the 5-pin. So Grace Greene hangs in tough. Now moves over to lane 21, the final frame. Knowing she needs to throw the strike here to have any chance whatsoever. Good ball, cutting across just a little much. And she leaves the 1-2-4.
Cuts the lead down to 16, but I don't think it's going to be enough.
Nope, it looks like Gracie's going to come up just a little bit short. So the husband-wife team of Grace Greene and Smith Greene looks like they're going to be eliminated. Gracie hanging in there like the old pro that she is. Picks the spare in the last frame. Well, stranger things have happened, Al. The strike on this, she'll be to 119.
Not enough.
So Grace
Helen
Greene finishes with 114, and Helen Johnson will move on to face Joan Brosho in the semi-final match with the right to bowl Donna Carlson, our top seed. And Helen Johnson, well, that's the place to look at that one when you've got the match won.
It's a good feeling getting up there in the 10th box knowing you don't have to do anything.
Just let it fly, and if you get the split, who cares?
Yep.
And Helen Johnson finishes with a 123. A good game for Helen Johnson as she eliminates Grace Greene and earns the right to bowl Joan Brosho next week on our 1985 Cablevision Open. And we'll be back with more Duckpin bowling in just a minute. And Jack Connell's going to be leading it off. Jack got here by beating Smitty Greene, which we saw earlier in our show.
He comes right out with a spare link.
And he sure does. And don't forget, our bowlers are going to be shooting all this month for their share of a prize jackpot of more than $2,200. And so could you. Just get down to any one of the participating Duckpin houses and reserve your spot in our next TV qualifying weekend. And Frank Ferri on lane 22, and Frank is the proprietor of Town Hall Lanes in Johnston, Rhode Island, one of our participating sponsors. And Frank's ball just absolutely explodes at the pins, Al, doesn't it?
Yep, it sings.
Frank Ferri with the Pro Tour star on his back, winner of the Garden City Open. Still a member of that Pro Tour, picking the 7-pin, so he matches the spare, hosted by his opponent in the first box. So Frank Ferri matching spares with Jack Connell. Ball out, it's a lot of spin, but just wouldn't carry out that 5-pin, so he's left with the 5, 4, and the 7. Takes a 5-pin lead over Jack Connell, but Jack's still working on his spare. Frame number 3. Frank shoots the 5-pin. Now we'll go after the 4 and the 7. And Frank makes his 10. All of our finalists, in addition to sharing a $2,200 jackpot, receive a generous gift certificate from Place for Ribs in Johnston, Rhode Island on Atwood Avenue. And we welcome Place for Ribs to our Duckpin sponsors and express our appreciation for their support of Duckpin bowling.
Jack's a little bit too full on that one, 1-3 pocket.
Both bowlers hit a little tough luck here in the last few frames.
Yeah, it's pretty good pocket hits too.
Frank leaving the split on 21, and Jack coming back and leaving just as a difficult one. Jack playing it into the inside, hoping to slide the 2-pin over, but just didn't catch it, and he's going to leave some wood on the plate too. So once again, the bowlers leaving wood on the plate may come back to haunt them.
That's right. That Jack had a 2-pin lead against the 10 box. He lost it with an 8.
So we have a tie game. Through 4 frames, each bowler standing at 51.
Another tough break in the 1-2.
Well, we've seen some tough ones here in the semifinal match between Jack Connell and Frank Ferri. Jack Connell bowling out of Hearthside Lanes here in Greenville. Frank Ferri, Town Hall Lanes in Johnston.
Nice
Owner
try.
and proprietor. Both bowlers running into a streak here of tough splits. So
he did that earlier today too.
That's right, he did. He brought the 6 into the 7 pins for a tough slide. All right, Frank Ferri now going to try and get back on track here and take advantage of the open frame. Jack Connell. Frank Ferri, the one-time holder of the 4-game world record for Duckpins. And that was a 680 4-game set. That's doing some throw now.
Yep.
And at one time had the Pro Tour record with a 236.
Frank made the 2-pinner.
Frank picks the 2.
And whatever he gets now on this ball will be his lead. So this is a big ball for Frank.
Both bowlers now bearing down here as we cross the halfway point of our match.
What a good break he caught. Very light 1-2 hit. He caught a real big break.
Well, you know, I've watched Frank bowl for many years, and Frank really, when he brings the ball into the pocket light, he really gets a lot of side action.
Yep.
Usually ends up with the 2-pinner or the 1-pinner. And he picks the 1-pinner, barely. So
I know what
Frank
that feels
Ferri
like.
picks the 1-pinner. We're going to be back with more duckpin action from Hearthside Lanes here in just a minute. Jack Connell now, lane 22 as we rejoin our match. Frank Ferri taking a 9-pin lead. Jack Connell. So Jack Connell's going to have to mark here to stay close.
To a nice ball in there, just a little too full, 1-5. And that hurts.
Jack looking for a little side action. Almost. So Jack leaves the 3-pin standing after making a valiant attempt at picking the 2, 3, 4, and the 6.
Yeah, it's a good 10.
Picks the 10. He should be pleased with that one. Maybe that will help Jack get on track here. Jack certainly isn't throwing bad. He's just not getting any breaks. He's cut through the middle a couple of times. And the other times where the pocket hits, he got no spare breaks at all. So
He hasn't been able to kick out the odd pin yet. He's throwing the ball in there. He's just not kicking out the odd pin.
Jack's not out of this match by any stretch, so we'll see what happens.
There's a good
There
ball.
he goes. Jack leaves the 4-7, cuts the ball across the 1-3 pocket side. And now we'll bear down, knowing he needs this mark to stay within striking range. Frank Ferri. Up a little short.
A little bit.
That one hurt.
Yeah.
Now here's another guy you don't want to put out in front of you.
No.
Frank Ferri is too tough.
Any of these guys
in
with
front.
stars on the back of their shirts, you don't want them ahead of you.
And if they're behind me, I'd like to have them about 60 pins behind with about 2 frames left. You know,
With one, because they'll find a way with 2.
That's right, 60's not enough.
61 with 2, I'll take.
That would be good. reason why.
There it is.
Ferri.
Now he's up 20. One ball doubled his lead.
Frank's also a pretty good golfer. They've exchanged quarters on the golf course many times.
Quarters?
Quarters. That's all we play for is quarters.
Okay.
Frank Ferri with the break.
Lee, the quarters. Your living quarters for his?
No. The real quarters.
Okay.
In fact, golf season's rolling around, so Frank will be splitting his time between bowling and golfing pretty soon. And he's just cruising along now.
And now it's 30 pins.
Picking a spare. So now Frank has marked 4 in a row. And it's going to be a little tough to come back from 30 pins against Frank Ferri. So Jack Connell.
That's really the first really bad ball he's thrown in a long time. He just hasn't been getting the breaks.
And he still doesn't, as the 8-pin stays solid on him.
It looks like we're getting closer and closer to the classic matchup, Lee.
It sure does, and the crowd will be extremely into that one. All right, Jack Connell moving over to 21, crosses over the 1-3 side, and finally, after pouring the ball in for the last 4 and 5 boxes, the 5-pin finally kicks over. And Jack has a strike, too little, too late. As Frank Ferri will hopefully put the door closer in the next 2 frames.
Frank's 40 over right now.
And
49 over. And the best Jack Connell can do is 149.
so Frank Ferri moves on, and we're going to have a classic matchup between Frank Ferri and Peter Pierce in our final match today, as Frank picks the 5-pin. Now has picked 5 in a row, put 5 marks in a row up. And now I'm getting excited. I can't wait for this final match.
Yeah, me too. I'm glad I'm sitting back here once. Ooh. You know, Lee, he's not out of the woods yet.
No, he has not closed him out.
No, he needs a 9-box to close him out.
And 2 more to close him out. And if not, the door is still ajar. Not by much.
No.
Jack certainly would have a tough time. He need to strike out. And
that did it.
That's it. So Frank Ferri closes out Jack Connell, and Frank is going to move on to meet the Attleboro Cannon, Peter Pierce, in our final match today. Jack Connell now working on his strike in the 9th frame. And Jack just continues to have problems, even with the match out of hand.
Oh, he almost made a nice shot in the end.
That's twice he almost done that today. And
He's making some shots. He's forced to be making some shots. He's really getting some bad breaks.
so Frank Ferri finishes with 150 to Jack Connell's 118, and Frank Ferri will move on to meet Peter Pierce in today's final, and we'll be back with that in just a moment. All right, ladies and gentlemen, here we are back at Hearthside Lanes in Greenville, Rhode Island, for probably one of the most exciting matches we're going to have here on our Duckpin show this year, featuring Peter Pierce, also known as the Attleboro Rifle. And that shows you why. And now, it's a good thing Peter has wide shoulders because he's got 6 stars on the back. He's a 6-star general.
That's right.
6 Pro Tour wins.
6 Pro Tour wins, 3 of them this past season. Bowler of the year 2 years in a row, and I just gave him the kiss of death.
Right now, probably the most feared bowler in the game.
In a lot of people's opinion, including mine, I think he's the best around right now.
So Frank Ferri has his work cut out for him, to say the least. And Peter gives Frank the opening by missing the 1 pinner in the very first box. But you know he's not going to miss too many of those because Peter's probably one of the most accurate hard throwers in the game today.
Yep.
So Frank Ferri, our Town Hall Lanes proprietor, and he's going to put it out right away. He's not going to take any chances. And we just saw Frank defeat Jack Connell. Frank had a 150 game, so he's there. He had 5 in a row in the middle, 5 spares and 4 spares and a strike in the middle of that match. So Frank is up and ready for this one.
Yep. He's going to have to get out of the gate on Peter, and he can throw a second mark here. That might do something.
And there it is. Frank comes out with a little hand grenade of his own.
That's
so
right.
He says, okay, Attleboro Rifle, let's see what you can do. So Pete Pierce, 6-star general. Over on lane 22.
And right back.
There they come.
Yep.
And Al, no question about it, this is going to be the match.
Something. Don't go to the refrigerator.
That's for sure. Look at the action.
Even when he throws light.
So Pete Pierce now.
3 of those stars were won this past season, and he was in the final match in 6 tournaments last year out of 9.
That's an incredible record. When you consider that you're bowling against 150 of the top bowlers in the country, in and out, to win 6 Pro Tours is just an absolute phenomenal
He could have won 6
accomplishment.
He could have won 6 last season alone. He lost in the final match 3 times and won in the final match 3 times.
And not only that, Pete just came back. Pete didn't think he was ever going to bowl again.
That's right.
He had a separated shoulder.
That's right.
So quite a comeback here, like Pete Pierce.
He's coming back better than ever.
Frank Ferri now working on his double strike. Leaves himself a very difficult split. Shooting at the 7 and the 9 pin. Tried to slide it over, but he'll take the 8 on the double.
Puts him 46 in the second box. 55 in the third.
So Frank Ferri now. He'll be looking to come back and throw another mark up on the board because he knows that Peter Pierce is capable of stringing strike after strike after strike together.
Well, he's leading Peter by 15 right now, but Peter's working on the spare against his open box.
And 15 pins against Peter Pierce is not even considered a lead.
Oh.
Frank Ferri pulling out a little cannon of his own.
Frank's even throwing with more authority this game than he did the last game, if that's possible. He was really firing last game. He's smoking it out there this game.
Picks the 1 pinner. So Peter Pierce now. Ooh, very heavy on the head pin. Takes the middle out. Pulls the 159. Oh, now that's big trouble for Peter.
Yep.
Pete's going to have to concentrate on the wood now, Allie. What he doesn't want to do this early in the match is make a big mistake. Those get tougher to make up at the end, so. And he did. He's thrown the 5 box here, which is
something you don't see too often.
No, you don't. Not from Peter Pierce. And our producer would like to alert our cable systems throughout the state that we will not be taking our cutaway during the match, so that we can see this match in full. And you're all going to have to promise our viewers to watch 2 breaks at the end. Now, we just didn't want anybody to miss this match.
This is something you don't see too often.
Peter Pierce picking the 10-pin. So it's a tight, close match between these 2 bowlers. Frank Ferri.
Frank's up 17 pins right now, and is hoping to extend that lead with this ball.
Frank Ferri on lane 22. 17-pin margin. Looking to extend it. Throws it out there. Another pocket. Yep.
Another great ball.
And Frank Ferri out to show that even with 6 stars on your back, anybody in duckpin bowling can do it.
Well, he could have easily had 5 strikes in a row. He's thrown 5 really strong balls, caught a bad split in the 3rd box, and caught a spare break in the 4th box, and 3 strikes.
All of our finalists are going to receive a generous gift certificate from Place for Ribs in Johnston, Rhode Island. Frank let that one go, held on to a little bit too long. Really looking for that good pocket hit.
But you got a very good break.
Oh, inside, and that's going to leave the door open for Peter now. Close in on Frank's lead. And he makes the 9. So Frank Ferri moves to 102 through 6 boxes, and a lead over Peter Pierce, who's now working in the 5th frame spare. And the door is open with that open frame, Frank Ferri.
There it is.
And he had a
how did that
rifle.
7-pin stay up?
I don't know. It just closed in on him, but stood solid. This is a big spare for Peter. This will help close the gap.
He's down 25 right now, and he's shooting against an open box.
Still not enough.
Still not enough.
That's why not only does he throw hard, but he's accurate. And we have to remember, Al, he missed the 1-pinner. You realize how close this match would be?
That's right.
He missed the 1-pinner in the 1st box.
And he threw a strike in the 2nd, so there was 10 pins down the drain.
That's right. It would be a very close match. Pete Pierce, and there it is. So these 2 bowlers are putting on quite a show this afternoon. Peter Pierce from Attleboro and Frank Ferri, proprietor of Town Hall Lanes in Johnston.
And it's down to 15, and here comes the train, Peter Pierce.
So now the pressure turns around and is back on Frank. He's going to have to match this, because I'm sure he hears the footsteps.
And that's the thing bowling against Peter. You know, you're 15 pins ahead, and you're supposed to feel comfortable, and you don't.
You can't let up. And Frankie doesn't, but he just doesn't get the break. Now, bowlers are shooting all this month for their share of a prize jackpot of more than $2,200. And so could you. Just stop it at any participating duckpin house and reserve your spot in our next qualifying weekend. Frank shooting at the 5-10 and just went by.
Slipped by. He's got to pick his wood now. He's got to go for 1.
Picks 1. So the lead will diminish. And we urge you to stop in here and register at any one of our participating lanes to participate in our open. Hearthside Lanes here in Greenville, Rhode Island, where we're broadcasting from all of this month. Bowling Academy in East Providence, Dudek Lanes in Warren, Max Bowlaway in West Warwick, Town Hall Lanes in Johnston, and the Wickford Lanes in North Kingstown. And Frank Ferri now under the gun to produce a mark here. Lane 21. There it is.
Great ball.
That was the pressure ball. He knew he had to get it in there. He knew he had to hold off the charge from Peter Pierce. So burying the ball on the 1-3 side. And Peter Pierce.
Comes in strong.
Will it kick it out?
Oh.
It wobbles it. It's going to stand.
The average bowler on this shot has two options: to slide it over, or to use the right sideboard. Pete has a third option. He can bring it back.
And boy, does he bring him back. Just missed. Our programs this month are directed by Joe Stafford. Videotape by Tom Manna. Our cameramen who do a great job for us here: John Carolyn, Don Lewis, and Kevin Barodi. And our production assistant, we'd like to thank Glenn Jordan. So Peter Pierce now, working against the striker Frank Ferri. Needs this mark to keep it close. Frank Ferri with a 5-pin lead. Working on a strike, so Peter knows he must pick this 5-pin. And he does. So now we got one heck of a finish coming up.
This is a big box. Big box for Frank right here. You know, if he can get it up in the teens again, he can almost
take the pressure off.
He can almost start breathing easy if he puts it in the teens. Almost.
Our statisticians would like to thank also Marilyn Hominick and Judy Ethier and Marilyn St. Jean, our scorekeepers. And of course our executive producer who keeps talking in our ear and keeping us alive, Mike Davis McGonigal. Nice pitch,
Another
Frank Ferri.
double.
Yes, sir.
Another double.
That was
Frank.
strike all the way.
Yep.
Frank knew it, too, as soon as he let it go. It was there. And this match just proved out exactly what everybody thought it would be. One heck of a battle.
Yep.
Still not over.
Nope. Although Frank's a lot better off right now.
Yep. Nice little sigh of relief when he throws that double. And that's really going to put the pressure on Peter Pierce. Frank let up a little bit on that one. He knew it as soon as he threw it. He just didn't put the ball where he wanted to. Now I noticed one thing. When these two guys walked up to the lane, the size of the crowd swelled to about double.
Yep. Everybody was waiting for this one.
This was the one. This was the big match. Frank throws it out there, gets the 2 for the count, looking for the count on that double. He wants to build up as big a lead as he can. He's now moved to a 157 through 9.
If he makes this one, he closes them out.
And that's it.
Them out.
Frank Ferri's going to close them out and be our champion here.
The best Peter can do is 166.
In week 2 of stop number 2, and Frank Ferri defeats the Attleboro Rifle. And I know Frank is pleased with that victory.
Frank is breathing again.
Yeah, it's awfully nice to know that Peter Pierce can't catch you.
Can't catch you.
Being a fine bull that he is, he picks the 1-pinner.
He's going to be up over 152 with a decent load, over 150 also.
And I know Peter Pierce is going to go for them all. And I know these two guys, we're going to see them again.
Oh, a lot of times.
Peter Pierce, there it is.
There it is. There's the key.
The Attleboro Rifle, and what a show Frank Ferri and Pete Pierce put on. Frank Ferri coming out on top with a 167 to Peter Pierce's 155. Duckpin bowling at its best from Hearthside Lanes here in Greenville, Rhode Island. And we'll be right back to make the presentations to today's winners. Welcome back to Hearthside Lanes here in Greenville, Rhode Island. And Mary, I'd say what a week we had here in this match. And I would really hate to bowl with these 4 guys. Don't you think that?
They did a terrific job.
Unbelievable. Our consolation prize and gift certificate from the Place for Ribs in Johnston, Rhode Island goes out to Mike Calise, and Mike couldn't be with us. So Mary, you're going to accept that on your behalf, on his behalf. And our next consolation prize, we saw his wife bowl earlier today, Smith Greene, finishing as a consolation prize and a gift certificate from Place for Ribs in Johnston, Rhode Island. Smitty, tough group of guys to bowl against. Thank you, Smith. Finishing in 3rd place, and a gift certificate from Place for Ribs and a $60 prize, Jack Connell. Jack did a great job. Jack, you just picked the wrong guys this week. I'll tell you, what a rough group. Jack, we're sure we'll see you back again. Well, Mary, I'll tell you what about this match. When this match went on, the crowd swelled to about 4 times the size. They waited for it all day. They were hoping it'd come about, and it did. This time, Peter Pierce finishes second to Frank Ferri, but they both put on quite a show. Peter Pierce, second place. Pete, congratulations. We're sure we're going to see you back again. And the winner, week 2, stop number 2 here at Hearthside, Frank Ferri. Frank, congratulations. And that was quite a show. Let me ask you a question. How does it feel to bowl against a guy who's wearing 6 stars on his back, and you're 1 star, 7 stars between them? You guys put on a heck of a show.
When you beat the very best, you feel very, very good.
It was a great match, and I think they both deserve another round of applause. And Mary, thank you very much, too, for the week that you've given us here. We'll be back next week with more of Duckpin bowling at its best in our 1985 Spring Cablevision Open.